Hello and welcome back to the chaos that is Shani and Books. Today I am going to be doing the JAN-uary book tag. I have done it every single year since it was created, which I don't know what I'm going to do for my thumbnail next year because every single year I've been doing the year on my fingers. Next year is going to be 2026 and I don't have 6 fingers on this hand, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But this tag was created by the lovely Jan Agaton, and like I said, I've done it every single year. It is just a tag to get the year going. So let's get into the questions. I actually have not prepared my answers because why would I? This is me we're talking about. So let's get started. Question number 1 is, what was the last and first, if you remember, book you read last year? So in 2024, the first book that I started was Natural Beauty by Ling Huang, which did end up making my favorites of the year list. But I did start this first, but I didn't finish this first in the year because I was feeling kind of slumpy. So I ended up reading all of the Tea Dragon books. I only own the first one. The other ones were from my library. But I read these to completion first, but Natural Beauty was the first book that I started in the year. And then the last book that I read in 2024 is Only Always You by Chloe Leese, which is a romance book. And this one was like a late finish to the Buzzword Readathon's November word was only. So I was squeezing this in at the end because I started it for November's word and I didn't read it until the end of December. But then I realized I'd read other books that had the word only in it anyway, so I didn't really need to squeeze it in. But regardless, this was my last book of the year. I can't remember what I rated it, but there we go. Okay, question number 2 is, what is your first read this year? Okay, I've just looked everywhere and I have misplaced my first read for this year. So I'll insert a picture, I guess. Oh, it's right there. Okay, my first read of this year was Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herring Blake, which is technically, again, a rollover from December. It was the book club pick for my friend's book club. And it was their December book, but I didn't finish it until January, which I'm kind of sad that this was my first book of the year because I love this author. I was really excited for it and I didn't love this book. It was only like a 3-star read, if that. I just think second chance romances are not for me. And this book is a second chance romance between 2 women and one of them left the other one at the altar, which I just feel like I just wouldn't forgive someone after that. So I don't know. That was my first finished book of the year. So I feel like I need to read something really good for my second book to make up for it. Question number 3 is, share 3 of your reading goals this year. I usually put out an entire video on my goals, which I'll likely do this year as well. It'll probably be up after this though. So I'll just share a couple. Anyway, I'm setting my Goodreads goal to 75 this year. So I don't know if that's going to be a mistake trying to do that, but it's set to 75. Last year it was set to 50 and I did almost double that. So I don't know, let's see if I can read 75. I would also like to read 30 2025 releases. Normally I set the amount of new releases I want to read way lower, but this year I'm being ambitious and I'm going to set it to 30. What else is a goal I should share in this one? Okay, third goal that I'm going to share is I would like to get my NetGalley rating to 100%. Last year, my goal was to get it to 80% because that's on the website. That's like the recommended, it says that's what it's the recommended percentage to have. So this year I want to get it to 100%. Obviously it won't stay at 100% the entire year because I'll request a book at some point and then it will obviously go back down, but I want to get it to 100 and have it hovering around that mark all year. That's one of my goals. And then I'll do an entire video on the remainder of my goals because I'm changing them up this year compared to previous years. Question number 4 is, share 3 of your most anticipated titles. 3 anticipated titles, you say? Again, would have been nice if I prepared myself. Okay, first one, I have the new Abby Jimenez book. It comes out in April on the 1st. It's called Say You'll Remember Me. And I'm just so excited because I have loved most of what this author has written. I have loved her recent books, not the original 3 in that first interconnected series, but I like the most recent 3. So I'm really excited for her next one. Also, I'm excited for, and I have an arc and I'm about to start reading it at some point this month, but in January, the book Blob by Maggie Sue comes out. I think it comes out on the 28th, which I am planning to have this for my February book for my book club. I was hesitant about doing such a new release, but I've done it before. My book club was just a mess last year and the second half of the year is just cancelled for me. So we're starting fresh, 2025, if anyone else wants to read Blob, because I know a lot of my friends have told me that they were interested in that book. So if anyone else wants to read that, why is my computer shutting down? How am I going to read questions? Okay. But yeah, I'm changing my book club a little bit this year. So if you have Storygraph, I will leave the Storygraph linked below, and I have made like a book club page on there, and then if you are signed up to it, I think you'll be able to get into like the buddy reads for each pick, so then we can discuss it with each other within the Storygraph app. And then if I am delayed on my live show, or if I'm unable to do a live show for whatever reason, at least we've all discussed it with each other. And then I guess I may as well say, I think I'm picking this as my next month after that's book club pick, but The Baby Dragon Cafe also comes out early this year. The author is Amna Qureshi. I need to look up how to say that author's name. But this is a Pakistani Muslim author, and it is like a cozy fantasy. And I'm considering this for the following month after because it sounds really, really cute. And I've been in the need for another cute, cozy fantasy that I actually enjoy. The book that I wanted to mention for one of my most anticipated titles is the new Sangu Mandana, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, but I don't even know when that is coming out. I think I mentioned it last year in this video for my most anticipated book, and then it didn't even come out last year, and I don't even know if it's going to come out this year, so I can't mention it for that question. So those are 3 books that I am highly anticipating, but I did do 4 whole videos on 2025 releases that I will leave linked below. I split up all my anticipated release titles into 4 separate videos because I had like over 100 titles that I wanted to talk about, which I'm obviously not going to read over 100 of them, but those are the 100 that piqued my interest. Question number 5. What goals did you reach or not reach last year? Let me get my journal from last year. So I did not reach my goal of reading 10 nonfiction books. I think this is the second year in a row that I did not reach that goal. And this year I was really, really far off from it. So I have axed that for 2025, which again, I'll have my goals video out at some point, but not having that as a goal, definitely didn't reach that one. I did reach my Goodreads goal. I did reach my goal of however many, new releases I wanted to read. I did the Buzzword Readathon. I did my NetGalley up to 80%. I had some writing goals that I had set last year, which again, I'll go over this in my goals video, but I'm considering those checked off because I don't know how many videos I've actually posted speaking about this, but I did some writing courses within 2024. So even though I didn't write like an entire book, I've been doing writing. So I am ticking all my writing goals off. Question 6 is, are there new releases you've heard of that you have no desire to read? Absolutely there is. Obviously, the Fourth Wing sequel, the 3rd book in the Fourth Wing, whatever it's called, definitely is not for me. I will not be picking that one up because I did not pick up the first 2, but even so, I'm not picking up any of those books in that series. There is no plans to do that. I also, which I'm sure it's going to be no surprise, but I'm assuming there's going to be a new Sarah J. Maas book within 2025 that I am definitely not going to read. One, because that author is clearly not for me based on the genre of books that she writes, but also lots of people have been quite vocal about that author's actions towards people of color, and I like to think that I am someone who uplifts diverse stories, particularly people of color, given that I am also a person of color. But I just feel like I can't really be a great spokesperson for wanting diversity in books if I am talking about that particular author on my channel. So I will not be picking up from her or speaking about her in a positive light on my channel. And then thirdly, I do think Taylor Jenkins Reid is coming out with a new book next year, and I don't know. I need to do more research, but I don't think I'll be reading from her again, just because I saw a lot of things about her, specifically that she was perhaps a Zionist. So maybe I don't want to talk about her on my channel too. Number 7, what are some reading habits you want to change this year, if any? I feel like my reading habits are going to just change naturally anyway this year. I don't know how it's going to end up looking, but in the past years that I've been on booktube, at least, I have been a full-time mum. I've literally had my son 24/7. I think the longest that I've probably been away from him is like an hour or 2 hours at a time, and most of that is just to go to therapy when I drop him at my mum's house so I can go to my therapy sessions. And I don't talk about like personal things with him on here, but he is starting school in 2025, which is crazy to think about. He's going to school, not 5 days a week, because he's not old enough for that yet, but he is going to school part-time. So I don't know how that's going to look for me. So I don't know if I can say how my reading habits will change. I do think my reading tracking habits are likely to change. I like using my reading journal. I like having a physically like writing down the books I'm reading and like tracking specific things in my journal. But I do find that when I want to see its statistic or like look up something, it does make it more difficult because I have to physically count things and add them up because I've written them down like on paper. And I did start using Storygraph and they do have fairly good stats. But again, they don't track everything that I want. So I do also want to try using spreadsheets this year. I have done this in the past. A couple of years ago, I did do this and I have spreadsheets again this year from the same people that I got them from last time. So I did get Deja's spreadsheet. I will leave her video on it linked down below and you can get it from her Etsy, or if you sign up to her Patreon, you can also get it. And then also I have Ali, whose channel used to be Hardback Hoarder. I think it's just with Ali now, or it's just her name. But she also has a really comprehensive spreadsheet. Again, I'll leave that linked for you. So I ended up getting both and I'm going to start using both for a little bit, which I've started using Deja's first and I did really like it. I'm not a spreadsheet person, so I did want to try and like edit certain things. And both of these spreadsheets, they have the star ratings. You can do whole stars and half stars, and I've started using quarter stars. So I tried adding quarter stars to the spreadsheet. I'm not very good at that. So I think Ali's was a lot easier to edit. But Ali's also has a 5-year spreadsheet, which at first I thought I didn't want, but now that I've gotten it, I'm like, maybe it's just going to be satisfying to see year by year, because it is 2025. So that will take me all the way up to 2029, and then 2030 I can start a new 5-year spreadsheet. So I don't know, I'm going to use both of them for now and just see how I'm feeling. Both of them kind of like are similar, but there are things that I prefer about Deja's and there are things that I prefer about Ali's, and I don't know how to edit them to make them both my perfect spreadsheet. So I don't know, I'm working on it. But yeah, my reading tracking habits are probably going to change a little bit maybe. And then yeah, my reading habits probably will change based on the amount of time that I have. Question number 8, are there any adaptations you're excited about? I don't watch TV or movies, so I'm going to guess that the answer is no. I can't think of any that there even are, but if something really, really piques my interest, then maybe I'll watch the adaptation, but I just don't watch TV or movies. Question 9 is favorite bookish memory of last year. I do think that I had a pretty, not so great year, reading wise and just bookish life wise. I did obviously start the year off pretty good with my book club, and so I had some really fun live shows and some really great discussions with people. I also had a lot of fun like getting dressed up for a lot of the live shows. So for the Big Little Lies one, I dressed up as Audrey Hepburn, and then I dressed up as a werewolf for the Bride live show. And then for the Emily Henry live show that I had 2 of my friends come on, and that was really fun getting to discuss things with people. I also was invited by Gabby Reads to be a part of her book club in November. So that was really fun to go on someone else's channel and discuss books with them. I was also on a video on my friend Dee's channel. I think his channel is back to just being his name, D Fretter. It also was changed to Don't Fret Read Books for a while, but I'll leave it linked below. And we did like a video chat. It was just some bookish stuff, some life stuff. It was just like a chill podcast style video. So that was also really fun. I also was very honored to be able to make it into a couple of other booktubers videos at the beginning of the year. Kayla Books and Lala does the reading booktubers favorites videos at the beginning of every year, and I somehow was in her video again last year for that, which was super, super fun because that's the second year in a row. And then Katie from Katie Colson did her big project of compiling all of the books on people's favorites list of the year. So I also was able to be featured in that video, which I am honored to have been included in big projects like that for other booktubers. Actually, now that I list things out, I feel like this year was not too bad. I think because the second half of the year I kind of fell off, and a lot of my plans I didn't end up doing. A lot of my friends were doing readathons that I didn't end up participating in just because I was barely reading and I was just like barely holding on and surviving. So I didn't end up doing a lot of the readathons that I love to participate in. I didn't end up doing like Summerween. Jan did the Full Moon readathon. My friend Sasha did the Thick Thighs readathon. My friends Lacey, Sadie and Cassie that run a book club together had a readathon that I barely participated in and posted about about. So I feel like I was really down on myself because a lot of the fun things that I had planned for the second half of the year, I just kind of like fell off the face of the internet and didn't participate in. But 2025, we're turning it around. I feel like now that I've listed out a lot of the fun things that I did do in 2024, I am feeling a little bit better about myself. So let's make 2025 a bit better. And then the final question is question 10, carryovers from last year that you still plan on finishing. Normally, I do not have an answer to this, but this year I actually do have a couple of carryovers. I had taken out from the library some short books towards the end of last year because I was trying to squeeze them in. Like I said, I had a really bad reading year, so I was trying to squeeze in some fun books to up my average rating. But I got a couple of chapters in and realized they weren't going to probably be new all-time favorites, perhaps. I don't know. So I ended up putting them down and put them off until this year. So I have This Is How You Lose a Time War, which I have been told I will like. So I'm going to still try this, but I only made it a couple of chapters in. I also have I Who Have Never Known Men, which again, I feel like this is something that I would like, but I don't know. I was just like, my mind was frazzled in December. So I made it a few chapters in and I've put it down. Okay, my son's making noise, which is usually my cue to leave. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I will leave Jan, who is the creator of this tag, linked below, as well as her video with like the questions and stuff. Obviously, I love Jan and I will always try and do this tag to start my year off. But yeah, let me know what some of your 2025 plans are, things you're changing, goals you want to hit, or let me know some of your goals that you achieved in 2024 or some memories from 2024. I don't know. Let me know something and I will see you in a new video next time. Bye.